Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of the People's L Pod. As Logan and myself, we are going to chat. Winter is coming. Logan, what is happening?
Lords, we're live, pal.
God damn it. We are live, dude. We are doing it, man. What's up?
Man, it feels like it's been a long time since we got to just talk some wrestling like after it happened. We've been very guest heavy, but here we are.
Yeah.
Did you guys hit go live yet?
We did. We're live right now, Matt. This is our producer. Producer Matt.
Goodbye.
Good to see you. Good to hear from you. All right, man. This is the second ever Winter's Coming. Last year we had Kenny Omega winning the AEW World Title. This year we had Bryan Danielson challenging Hangman Page. So let's just get right into this, man. What'd you think?
We started out hot. I was not expecting to turn on Dynamite and see Daniel Bryan walking out. We get Hangman and Daniel Bryan right off the bat.
I was in my car, like you did. You had texted me that was starting off, and I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "I'm not even close to being home." So
and then almost instantly, like your first thought when that happens is, "All right, well, this is probably going all the way."
Yeah, definitely first thought that we're getting a Broadway, or at least it's going close to 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know. I thought the match started off a little slow, I would say, and then it kind of got going, but you knew they were kind of taking their time as they were planning on going a full 60, or at least as close to that as possible. But overall, like you said, we started off hot and we kept going. What do you think about this match?
I mean, the match itself was kind of what you would expect at this point out of Daniel Bryan and Hangman. Really good. I actually thought the pacing was good, especially for a 60-minute match. It wasn't the, let's kind of start slow, drag time, kill time. Let's speed up at the end, try to catch everything up. They were going at a pretty decent pace. Hold on, Lawrence. We got to go to picture-in-picture commercial break real quick.
All right.
Now we're back. A lot of that. Too much of that. I hate that.
Yeah.
The only thing I want, like Dynamite, if we're going to do these special pay-per-view matches, let's get the ads out of the way first, and let's just enjoy the match in full. A lot of commercials for one match. Granted, it was half the show, but that's really my only complaint. In ring wise, though, it's got to be up there with any AEW match of the year so far.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's December 15th, so a late match of the year contender. I thought it built really well. It went from kind of slow, and then once you're like, okay, well, this is going 60 minutes. Then I thought after that first commercial break, which is about 20 minutes in, I think that's about when they started to pick it up and really got going in the match. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of questions about Hangman going into this match. Like, is he really a top guy? And I don't think that you could really ask that question anymore. I think he answered all those questions. I think he is a top guy for the most part. But overall, outside of the match, what this actually means for Hangman, gotta be honest, man, I did not like that.
The finish?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
It was tough. They're in a tough spot. And I think, if we were consistently like doing these recap shows, we probably would have brought up the fact that going to Bryan, like as Hangman's first defense, neither guy can really lose yet.
Well, that's part of the problem. But at the same time, you're trying to establish Hangman. This is his first title defense, and he doesn't even successfully defend the title. He just kind of outlasts Bryan. So you're really not saying that he's better than Daniel Bryan. And then if anyone can take a loss, it's Daniel Bryan. Like, literally, that guy is bulletproof. I mean, at least in my eyes, I see him as being bulletproof.
Yeah, I just don't know. Where do you think we go from here? Does this run until the next big pay-per-view and then maybe we get a finish there, or
Well, they got that Battle of the Belt show coming up January, I think it's 8th,
Yep.
and that would seem to be a place for a rematch, but they haven't done like any immediate rematches in AEW. Everyone's kind of had to wait their turn to get their shot. So I don't know if that's what they do, or they maybe go at Revolution, which is at towards the end of February, and then Hangman defends against someone else. But there's not like a real challenger set up, and a lot of those guys that have kind of been in that main event scene, they're not even active right now. Like we haven't seen Moxley, we haven't seen Jericho's sick in Europe somewhere.
Yeah.
Kenny's had multiple surgeries, so I'm not really sure where you go. And it seems like the next likely challenger is MJF, but he's actually in a feud with CM Punk right now. So, what do you
Yeah.
think?
So I mean, it seems like the way it's kind of set up that it has to be this. We just drag this out a little longer. I don't know how exactly I feel about. So now that's twice now we've gotten two big Daniel Bryan matches that kind of fans have wanted to see. And the first match goes 60-minute draw, like him and Kenny, him and Hangman. It feels like we're maybe doing a little too much of that too quick into Daniel Bryan's run. But I understand they want to kind of keep him strong. But yeah, like you said, I just don't know who is really in that title picture so quick outside of anybody.
Yeah, we talked a couple days after, what was it, All Out or Full Gear, when Daniel Bryan had become the number one contender. And it actually seemed more logical that Miro would have been in that spot. And then Hangman could have had a successful defense. And then maybe you set it up so that he would have wrestled Daniel Bryan. And I think if they would have gone that path, this would have been a tough challenge. Obviously, it wouldn't have gone 60 minutes, but you would have kind of gone through probably his biggest challenge to this point.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. And just outside of even like title contenders for Hangman, I don't really know where you go with Daniel Bryan after Hangman either. Like
good question. Does he go back to being a babyface? I kind of have felt this whole time that the fans are just playing along and like booing him just because they know he's going up against Hangman.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like he's doing his best work as a heel right now. But I think he could kind of, whatever role they need him to get into, he could shift into really quick. So if they want him to keep being a heel to kind of work with some of these baby faces they're trying to bring up, he can do that. If they want him to go baby face to work with somebody, he can do that. It's just tough. I don't want to see, I feel like lately with AEW, when we bring in these new guys, they all fall into the pattern of let's just wrestle a bunch of up-and-comers for a month and a half until we're ready to get a storyline. I don't want to see him fall back into something like that again. Basically what CM Punk has been doing until he got to MJF. I feel like you have to have something kind of big ready for him.
Right. Well, I felt like with Punk, with that long layoff, he kind of had no choice but to do that. But the other downfall that we've kind of seen throughout really the history of AEW, even going back to Brody Lee, Brian Cage, when those guys debuted, they got shot right into a title match and then lost. And now Daniel Bryan, I mean, I guess was that Grand Slam? Was that for a title? Or no, I don't even think that was a title match, but he didn't have that. And now he had his first title events. He didn't win. So none of these guys ever win the title. And then they all just kind of faded away for the most part.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a fear. And, obviously, they've been kind of shuffling through this roster a little bit, like adding people, moving people up the card, moving people down the card. And I don't even see just like a natural, well, if I'm Daniel Bryan, I beat this person, I should be the number one contender again. Unless it's MJF, but he's already feuding with Punk. So,
you know what they could do, and they already have this kind of built in, and it's got history, and they could jump right into it. Daniel Bryan versus Big Show and the Mark Henry.
Gosh.
Steel cage, world title match. That history is there. It writes itself.
Oh, man, you're too much.
Right?
I mean, it is there. Yes, I just actually saw they just had an anniversary of one of those matches recently, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's probably the way to go.
Maybe not. You never know.
Yeah, but anyways, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Overall, though, like I said, I thought it was a great match. I thought it was a lot of fun, a lot of drama. Um, but very curious to see where things go next for both of these people. And
Yeah,
like I said, that's January 8th, so we're only 3 weeks away from
yeah.
that, and then Revolution's probably another 6 weeks after that. Also, too, right before we started recording, um, just saw, I don't know if you saw this, but it appears that Brody King is now all elite.
Did they announce it officially?
They did not announce it, but there are websites that are promoting that. So
Okay. Well, I mean, that's what that vignette seemed to kind of hint at, the Malachi Black vignette. So,
yeah,
I mean, I'm here for that.
yeah, it did kind of hint towards that. So moving off that main event that kicked off the show, next we had Matt Sydal taking on Wardlow. Pretty easy victory for Wardlow, but he came out with Sean Spears. They had that weird thing at the end where Spears got a phone call and it was MJF, and it's like, dude, like, whatever happened to the Pinnacle?
I mean, we said it when they started coming up. It was too soon to try to shoehorn another heel faction in there just for reasons. And I think they kind of realized that too. That's why you have FTR kind of breaking off, doing their own thing. You didn't even see Sean Spears for a while. And now Wardlow's getting kind of sick of it.
What do you why do you think they've been holding Wardlow back? I mean, he was basically one of these pillars. They never called him a pillar, but he's been there since the very beginning, since their very first show. And he, they were showing vignettes for him, but he's just been kind of MJF's heavy this whole time. He hasn't really been out there and on their show. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like they've been kind of holding him back, but I think he's a guy that could, be a big star next.
Yeah. They might have just felt he might not have just been ready at the time. And then, because remember, even around the time he started getting hot during the quarantine, that's when they brought in the Brody Lees, the Miros. So there's other guys kind of brought in that maybe overshadowed him a bit. And then they felt like, he wasn't not doing anything if he was with MJF. At least he was in a pretty prominent role. So he could kind of just hang out there. But I tell you, man, if they can kind of even hit like a fraction of the Batista evolution turn and kind of do something along the lines of that with Wardlow, then yeah, they got a guy on their hands right there.
Yeah, actually, I think that's a real good comparison. I kind of see a lot of Batista in Wardlow, and someone that I think is kind of ready to start at least, maybe like a TNT title run if you're not really ready to quite go full on towards that main event scene with him. But
Yeah.
I think you could easily do that, as he's got the look, he's got the personality. It seems like, at least, and
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. He might even, to do it, he might have to become a babyface, and I think that's even something that he could probably pull off as well. So.
Yeah, the one thing I don't really see yet, and maybe it's just because we haven't heard it enough. I don't know about you, but I often whenever I'm trying to picture my mind guys that I could see as the top guy, I try to picture their music playing to close out a pay-per-view.
Oh, his music sucks.
Yeah, and I
actually was thinking that today.
Yeah. I can't
thought
see
that. Yeah, that music is terrible, but that's kind of mid-card music. I think that he would actually probably get something different if he were to switch it up. So, all right. Then after that, we had a couple of promos as the show had to kind of come down after all that excitement to kick off. But we did have Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and the Young Bucks. Looks like they're going to have an 8-man tag match with the Best Friends now that they're back at full strength. I was trying to avoid the text messages from you because I was behind on the show and I didn't want the match to get spoiled. But I know you guys were kind of talking about Kyle O'Reilly. Does it seem natural that he's going to come in here?
I think so. Just kind of for the feeling I got from what Adam Cole was saying, the way him and Bobby Fish kind of looked at each other, it seems like we could be going that route. And it just kind of makes sense for especially the Young Bucks right now. If they were to do something like Adam Cole gets his guys in and then finally turns on the Bucks for, killing him. while Kenny Omega's
Yeah.
out. It gives them something high profile to do that doesn't involve the tag titles for a little bit. I mean, that's a very easy pay-per-view match you can work in with all those guys. And O'Reilly doesn't have to wait. He can show up whenever he wants.
Yeah, and I mean that's a good 6-man too that you could run just kind of variations of that for a while as well. In addition to that, kind of like we mentioned there, they had the Malachi Black vignette there where he was kind of indoctrinating someone. It did kind of seem like Brody King, since they've been tagging in PWG, and then like I said, there's now reports out there that he is going to AEW after Ring of Honor shut down over the weekend. Then we had Hikaru Shida. She took on Serena Deeb. This is the third match in their series. Deeb won the first one, and then Hikaru Shida knocked Deeb off during the TBS title tournament. And now we had part 3. And it seemed like this match was a little rushed for time, I thought, personally. But that, even taking that into consideration, I actually thought this was a pretty good match. Very hard hitting. Serena Deeb, she's trying to be like a modern day Bret Hart, I would guess, with the figure 4 around the turnbuckle or the corner post. But what do you think about the match?
Yeah, really good match. Probably two of the better in-ring performers in AEW. They're finally kind of starting to figure out how to tell more than one women's storyline at a time. Even though they're kind of trying to figure out where to place it, so like the storyline pacing doesn't seem weird. But yeah, really good match. I did start thinking once it hit about like 9:25 my time, and this match was just starting, I was like, oh, okay. We'll see how there's still a lot of show they got to get in. So we'll see how much time they actually get in. But I thought they told a pretty good story, and they can really, I mean, those women, they can stick them with anybody else in that division and get a decent storyline out of it. Putting them in the ring just makes sense.
It's nice to see a company being able to tell a women's story that isn't just about the title. So that was good to see. And then they also, after that, they had set up for a match on Rampage with Penelope Ford and Ty Conti in a submission match.
Yeah.
I don't watch a whole lot of Dark, but I don't know, like, when did this feud like spin like so out of control where it's gotten to the point they need to do a submission match? Yeah. So
yeah, the only thing I was kind of thinking while this match was happening, I was like, yeah, this is great and all. They have a good singles match, but could they coexist as tag team partners?
Yeah, well, that is the natural evolution if you're in a WWE feud. But she's already got the bunny, and she's already got Anna Jay on her side, and I think we.
No, I'm talking Shida and Serena Deeb.
Oh, those two, yes.
Could they coexist?
Well, if they ever bring back that, what did they call that women's tag tournament that they had?
I thought they just had. Didn't they have tag titles?
No, they had medals. Like, you were in the tournament, and it seemed like it was so destined for Brandy and Allie, because she was like stealing all QT's money there for a while. Yeah, and then they ended up losing early, and Eva Lise and
Diamante.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was weird. No Britt Baker on this show. And
no, are they doing this as like they're not doing like a Winter is Coming Part 2 next week, are they?
It's called Holiday Bash.
Oh, of course.
Yes. Yeah. Every show needs a theme for whatever reason. I don't know what the point of that is. But this brings us to our main event, where we had MJF taking on Dante Martin for the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal Finals. And MJF comes out, cuts a promo, mocking CM Punk, calls him a modern day Ryback, as he's beat a lot of opponents that are mid and that don't really matter. And then gives him a lot of crap for the cheap heat of healing on the hometown team, which last week they were in Long Island, so it was the New York Islanders. But Dante Martin, he's got his issues with Team Taz, but he came out, and we got another one of those commercial breaks in the middle of this that you love, where it goes picture in picture. I treat those as regular commercial breaks. I don't even.
Yeah, I don't. When they first introduced it, I was like, that's kind of cool. And then very quickly, I stopped paying attention to the picture in picture.
Yeah, I did the same, likewise. But so anyways, what did you think about this match with MJF that he ended up winning over Dante Martin?
Good match. There's still some moments where you can see, Dante Martin is still trying to figure some stuff out. But I'm like, part of me was thinking that MJF wasn't going to get 3 in a row. And I was more or less expecting CM Punk to kind of cost it for him and then them to give the match to Dante Martin. But so I will say I was a little surprised when MJF won it.
Yeah, that was my thought last week. Is that as soon as they were like kind of hyping that up and he refused to wrestle CM Punk, I was like, oh, he is so going to cost him that ring. But it ended up not being the case, and it was I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good match. Definitely contrasting styles, and watching this match, you know what I actually thought about? I thought about you and Jet Knight and how
Oh yeah,
Jet Knight has kind of left you behind. Not to make fun of you or anything, but the fact that like Darius Martin, what is going to happen to this guy, man? Like everyone loves Dante Martin. He's in the main event of shows now. Like he's doing PWG.
yeah.
He's all over the place, and it's like Darius is just at home chilling, man. I mean, I know it's his brother.
He'll probably start a very successful local podcast talking about wrestling somewhere, and then end up doing a live YouTube shows. I don't know.
Oh, well, that works out.
Yeah. It's not a bad path. That's a good path.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking that. I was like, man, what happened to Dante, man? Like, I know he's been out injured, but it's like, dude, he's just been left behind. Like, I mean, I've been thinking that for a while, but it's unfortunate. But I guess that kind of sets up a brother versus brother feud. I know they've had a lot of weird things going on with Dante Martin too, like with the whole Team Taz thing, him and Leo Rush. Which is they haven't really been able to kind of find the right role for him. It's just like they know, hey, we want this guy on our TV as much as possible because people love him and he's really good, but they still really haven't quite figured out what to do with him. So,
yeah, I saw, I think it was Rob Naylor on Twitter kind of suggest this a while back for Dante Martin, but if you give him like he called like a showcase, Dante Martin showcase. Just give him like a month or two of just straight matches with like people with different styles, and just let him do that to kind of showcase everything he can do, and then slowly kind of build in the character stuff, because that's really where he's lacking is the character stuff. He showed a little bit of it with that short Malachi Black thing he did, but they just have to really start building that base for him, I think.
Yeah, and he's still really, I think he's only like 21, maybe 22 years old.
Yeah, super young.
Yeah, so he's still got some time. Then afterwards, FTR comes out, the lights go out, then we get Sting and Darby, and FTR start kind of beating up on them. Then, of course, Cult of Personality hits CM Punk. He comes out, and he has a baseball bat with him, runs them off, and even though they had been hyping this big Tony Khan announcement all night, CM Punk comes out and challenges next week that we get a 6-man of Sting, Darby, and CM Punk versus FTR and MJF, which I guess is still considered the pinnacle. Is that what we call it? But for the first time, and I believe they said 27 years, Sting is going to be wrestling in Greensboro, North Carolina. So what do you think about that kind of closing angle there?
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Just building up to eventually we'll get MJF CM Punk single. Like there's gonna be, I don't know, I feel like they just throw out a lot of multi-man matches in it. Yeah, they're usually good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a good way so that we don't keep seeing these like same rematches over and over. I know Tony Khan made a comment about WWE doing rematches, but the time the pay-per-view came, you didn't want to see the matches. So I guess they're somewhat avoiding that. But yeah, I think it'll be good. I was actually kind of hoping for the Briscoes there.
I was too, yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping we would see them tonight.
Yeah, especially after that attack that FTR laid on the Briscoes over at Final Battle. Then we see the videos, and the Briscoes were like, hey, anytime, anywhere, come land the plane in the cornfield or whatever.
Yeah.
Jay Briscoe was saying.
Yeah, I don't like with all the stuff that AEW lets their guys do outside of AEW, which is really cool, like FTR showing up at Final Battle. It oftentimes feels like when it comes to where fans want to see it the other way, Tony Khan's a little bit like, these are my toys, I'm going to use them how I want to here. Like you can have him out there, do whatever you want, but in Dynamite, like I'm gonna kind of control everything, and maybe he's not quite ready for the Briscoes, but yeah, I was kind of hoping we would see them tonight.
Yeah. I was hoping that. I was just expecting someone, like anyone, to kind of debut really tonight because it kind of seemed like that they were trying to over the next like month or so really kind of build up to some debuts, either from some people that had left WWE or had left Ring of Honor, but we didn't really get to see anything like that on tonight's show. For
Yeah,
the most part.
Tony Khan kind of teased that, right? That there's going to be some more free agents coming in and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean we we got 2 NXT guys, and like I said, the whole Ring of Honor roster. So very curious. Did you get to watch any of Final Battle?
No, I have not seen any of it yet. I paid attention to everything that was going on, saw some stuff you were saying. There's some stuff I want to go back and check out, but it's just kind of like it's curious to me. Like if you watched it, so having watched it, from what you saw, would you tune into any Ring of Honor? Like if there was going to be continuing episodes based off of what you saw?
That's kind of hard to say. Watching that show, I felt like this was it. Like they had the little thing at the end where they said, coming back 2022, but the way that what's his name, Ian Riccaboni was talking and doing the commentary, and a lot of the matches you kind of saw people kind of doing, kind of homages to people. I felt like this was the end. Like I don't think they kept saying, "Oh, it's an end of an era," and it just didn't seem that way. Like you don't see, people doing other people's moves. You don't see them bringing back the original ROH title, for one night. You just don't see a lot of that when you're trying to transition. Even if you're taking 3 months off and you want something totally brand new, like. And if you do that, like it needs to be. Wouldn't even call it Ring of Honor. I would just call it something else.
Yeah,
if I were them, because it won't be the same if but at the same time they were really kind of setting up some angles that kind of seem like, hey, we want our stuff to stay active, like for instance with Roxy, she had a thing with Deonna Purrazzo.
Yep.
And it sounds like she's going to be defending the ROH women's title on the indies over the next couple months. We mentioned the FTR, they attacked the Briscoes. That definitely seemed to be setting up some type of feud for them. Where is it going to happen? It doesn't know. We don't know if it's going to happen in AEW because, like you said, Tony Khan doesn't really let that stuff happen. You also had EC3. He brought out Wesley Blake and some other guy, then ended up bringing out the Titan, the guy everyone knows is Braun Strowman. But it's like, where's this faction that they have? Like, where's that going to happen? Is it just going to be on Control Your Narrative shows or whatever he calls them, or Free Your Narrative?
Yeah, everywhere. It seems like everywhere but AEW. Maybe they go to Impact. Who knows? They even added. Yeah. I sent that picture. It seems like Karrion Kross is going to be involved with them too.
Yeah, so he was like with them, but then I saw somewhere where Scarlett was like, well, her and Karrion, they're not, or I guess he's Killer Kross again. They're not going back to Impact Wrestling. So
right.
So where's that going to be? I mean, I doubt all those guys are going to MLW, and
no,
that's not going to happen on a GCW show. It's not going to happen on a PWG show. Maybe the NWA. I mean, they could use something to get people talking.
Yeah, Scuttlebutt, Spotfest.
Yeah, that would work.
Matt?
I would watch. I would definitely watch. They who knows? I mean, I don't know. It's just a weird time in wrestling, just in general. As we wind down this year. We lost one of the bigger independents in ROH.
Yeah,
Impact. I mean, they still have a full roster. MLW. They've got this weird Lucha Azteca thing going on, or Azteca Underground, as they're calling it. And it's an interesting time. And then it seems like New Japan's finally back. Like they're, Wrestle Kingdom's coming up. I don't know where things going to go as we start to get closer to 2022.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe someone else with a lot of money comes around and decides. Because now, I mean, if you were somebody that had just millions of dollars and you wanted to start a wrestling company, now's the time to do it. I mean, there's plenty of talent out there just waiting on stuff to do. But I think MLW you mentioned, that's like probably the most interesting name. Like if you are them, now's the time to try to make something happen. Like there's some pretty big pieces out there you can take and build something around. Like if they don't take advantage of this, I mean they're doing good stuff now, but I mean now's the prime time to strike.
Yeah, this is kind of their best opportunity now that ROH is out of the picture. Where I mean they've done a really good job. I mean, it just seems like anytime they kind of get someone somewhat hot, they kind of get picked off from them.
Yeah.
And that's happened kind of throughout ever since they kind of really came back. But now you have one less person to pick you off, and you can kind of strike. NWA, we saw like Matt Cardona, he showed up at their recent show, but the problem with them is they have just so many of those guys that came at that WWE ECW time, and
yeah, Velocity. They got the Velocity roster.
Yeah, like just so many people that couldn't cut it back in 2006, 2008. Like, like I have a good friend. Won't say his name, but he watches Fox News a lot. And he was like texting me about Tyrus the other day because he was on there, and I was like, "This would be." I was trying to explain to him the equivalent of the NWA. I was like, "This would be something like back in the early '90s if you rocked Starter or Reebok." I was like, that was like a big deal back then. I was like, but now that's what you see like at Walmart. I was like, it's been overtaken by Nike, and I was like, that's like the NWA. I was like, it's just no one talks about it anymore. It was cool, 30 years ago. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it like you said, it's an interesting time to kind of see where everything is going, and at a time where it seemed like there was more opportunity for people, there's very quickly becoming less opportunity. As more and more people hit the market.
Yeah, less opportunities and more people, unfortunately. So, all right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. This is our first go around on the Flex Network here. Bringing the People's L Pod. We'll be doing some more shows. We'll be doing some interviews with this, and we will. We're going to take it from there, man. We're going to go big time with this thing, hopefully.
Yeah, give us some feedback. Let us know how it went. But we might have found a home here on the Flex Network, talking some wrestling every now and then. Yeah, that's it. It's fucking late here. I'm tired.
All right, man. Well, yeah, check it out. We got a big interview coming up this weekend on the People's L Pod. That'll be on our feed. Rate, review, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on the People's L Pod.